Well, I'm here with the Grand Master of Freemasons Victoria, Bob Jones. Bob, thanks for joining me. I believe you became a Freemason at the age of 18. Why did you join?
Good question. My father had been a Freemason for quite some time, and I was quite aware of his going out to lodge. That's about all I knew. But certainly Dad wanted me to be a Freemason. He thought it would be good for me, and I certainly joined because he wanted me to. Now, I know that's against the laws and against the rules, but that's the truth. And I'm very pleased to say that it was probably the best decision in my life, a life-changing decision.
Tell us about your childhood.
Oh, my childhood, probably like to forget most of that. We lived in a very low socio-economic family in the western suburbs of Melbourne, but a very good family, a very strong family. Father worked, mother stayed home, looked after the four children, myself and three sisters. And the family as a unit, my grandparents, parties, strong memories of getting together for celebrate anything. So from that perspective, we were a very good, strong family. And it was tough living in the western suburbs of Melbourne in those days. But I have many memories of rolling up newspapers to kickers' footballs, getting anything that you could play with because you couldn't afford to buy things. I remember the TV, a neighbour, a pretty wealthy neighbour, about 3 doors down, getting the first TV in the street, and we as kids being asked to come down and have a look at that device, which was quite fascinating.
I've heard you say you were a fiery tearaway as a youngster with no direction or purpose. Tell us about this stage of your life.
I prefer to forget it, I suppose. No, look, I was a young, innocent lad growing up in the West and inventive. We had a quarry just down the road. We had a coal dump a little further down the road. The quarry was a great sense of adventure on a weekend when no one was working. You'd go and swim in the 100-foot deep dams, and you'd spin around in the crusher wheels that, if kids did it today, you'd have them by the scruff of the neck. But they were the Tom Sawyer sort of things that we used to get up to. We'd go down the coal dumps with anything, with a motorbike, with an old car, and just drive around the coal dumps, having a lot of fun.
Do you think Freemasonry is still relevant to men of today's society?
Oh, I'd suggest it's more relevant today than it's ever been. It straightened up a young lad like myself, gave me direction in an era where people were poor and rich, and a very strict line between the two. Whereas today, the difference between rich and poor is a little more fuzzy. But nonetheless, we need direction. We need social direction. The children today, I shake my head at some of the things that happen in the world today, let alone in my own area. Freemasonry, those younger men and their partners had Freemasonry, had the direction of Freemasonry today, I've got no doubt the world would be a much better place.
What have been some of your most memorable moments along the way to becoming the Grand Master?
Oh, look, I was the worshipful master of my lodge in 1977, at the age of 24, I think I was. And of course, we had no children in those days, so and being the youngest of the group, we had 76 masters in the group, and everybody had ladies' nights. Every Saturday night we're out at some ladies' night, and that was a great sense of fun for us. That was a great time in our life, being the master of the lodge. About 5 years later, I was asked to present for a grand team, and I was lucky enough, out of I think 60 or 70 people who paraded for that interview, I was lucky enough to get in the grand team as a grand sword bearer. And I was very taken by the ceremonial of Freemasonry, so it suited, to be in a grand team suited me. I guess the highlight of any ceremonial officer is to become, or you want to become, the Grand Director, which I was in 1990. Those that have been Grand Directors know what I'm saying is true. It really is the highlight of your Masonic career. Not to say that being Grand Master is not a big thing, but being a Grand Director in ceremonial terms is the main job.
And I believe you're the youngest Grand Director we've ever had in this jurisdiction?
I believe so. I don't know that it's a badge that I wear with any other, any higher on any other ranking. It's I was very young in Freemasonry. I got the opportunity at 18 years of age when my father died, that I took over his role within my lodge, and 24 years of age I was the master. So it was just something that age didn't come into it, to be honest.
As the Grand Master, you joined the likes of Sir Dallas Brooks, Lord Somers and Sir William Clark, quite an elite group of men. Tell us about the evening you became the Grand Master.
Probably one of the most emotional moments of my life. I did break down. I guess I held it, but I did get very emotional. To be talked of in the same breath as people like that is for someone from my upbringing, from my background, was very emotional, very proud. Just shows that if you try hard enough, you can get to the top of anything. And I'm extremely proud to be the Grand Master of Freemasons of Victoria, and to be ranked with those men that you just mentioned.
And what do you think your father would have said to you on that evening?
Put your best foot forward, give it your best shot, and don't change. Be yourself. As has many of my immediate past Grand Masters, those that are supporting me now, say exactly the same thing. I had a little saying, I wasn't sure if Freemasonry Victoria is quite ready for a Bob Jones yet, but here I am, and we're trying to make some changes, and all for the better, and take Freemasonry along what I think is probably a natural path to a bright future.
So what do you actually do as the Grand Master?
Oh, I do a lot of installations, which is everybody would like to be installed by the Grand Master, but I can't do 300 of those in a year. I like to attend as many as I can, but there's lots of other functions that, just recently I've been to a couple of social functions with some groups within Freemasonry, and I enjoy that just as much, where I can socialise with the men, their wives, their partners, their children, Christmas trees, that sort of thing. I get just as big a kick out of that, to be honest. The ceremonial side of it, certainly the grand installation was a big function, and those quarterly communications are big and quite they're good functions to be part of. But I enjoy giving away the cheques, seeing the looks on the faces of the kids as they picked up their scholarships. Seeing the look of anticipation in their eyes, and knowing that we are making a difference. I happen to be the head of this organisation, but the organisation is making a difference, and that really swells your chest.
Well, thanks very much for sharing your story with us, Bob, and we'll be back after the break. You're watching Freemasons, The Inside Story.